Now please rise, and if you're in the hallways, please pause and join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of Mornings. I'm Erin Justberger. It's the first week of the new marking period, so let's see what's been going on this past week. The North Penn High School Theater presents the premiere of Breathing Through COVID tonight at 8 p.m. NPTV had the chance to sit down with Miss Roney to talk about how this amazing and insightful production was brought to life.
How hard was it for you to keep everything going with all the circumstances we're in right now?
Probably the most difficult was just switching our brains, all of us, switching our brains to how we can create a show, how we rehearse a show, how we present a show. And thankfully, there have been people like Mr. Gilmer and Noah Golden, who's a graduate of North Penn High School and now has his own production company, Out Loud Productions. He works a lot with the school district, and he was our primary editor on the show. And they've been along the way reeling me and my co-director, Mrs. Buckner, in and say, well, in the virtual world, that's not exactly how you should do it, or that would be too long, or we don't need this, but we do need this. Normally, our show goes on the weekend before Thanksgiving in November. We were just simply not ready. It just took so much longer to create this script and get it into a position where then we could record it mostly out of students' homes by themselves with their phones and things like that. And then actually get to the point where we could also edit it and put it together into the form we wanted it to be. We're 2.5 months later than what we normally would be because of that.
Speaking of the crew and the cast you had with you, how impressed are you with the people who joined you?
I'm totally impressed with our students. I mean, I'm just generally impressed with the students at North Penn High School and throughout our district, but I see the kids at North Penn. My theater kids, I think it was my kids, they really stepped up to the plate. I mean, this show it's frank in some of its discussions. It's funny in places. It is heartwarming. It's heart-wrenching at times.
I bring up the fact that some students, as they're watching the show, might be interested, like our sophomores and juniors, into joining theater. How can they join? What do you give them? What do you give them the confidence boost to go for it?
I would say give everything a try once if you have a little bit of interest in it, no matter what it might be, theater or anything else. Specifically for theater, we are going to have a spring musical. We don't know what it's going to be yet. We don't exactly know what form it's going to take. And there's a lot of things to take into consideration, but we will have auditions at some point. We will certainly put things in the school bulletin. We will certainly put announcements out. You can join our Google Classroom. You can email me to find out how to do that. But I would say, while you have the opportunity while you're young and you can try things, do it.
Mr. Brumball is back again to test your knowledge on this week's Brumball Challenge. Tweet your answer at NPTV.
Hey, welcome to this week's Brumball Challenge. This week's challenge question deals with presidential inaugurations. In light of the inauguration this past week, this question came to mind. Who was the first U.S. president not to attend his successor's inauguration? The answer when we get back.
Juniors, do you have an idea of what kind of work you might want to go into or a career you're thinking about? If so, the high school offers a career exploration or work study program to get to know your field more in a hands-on environment. Interested juniors should go to the Daily Bulletin on the high school's website where there's a link to the Google Meet at 1 p.m. today after school. Also, any student who missed course selection night, no worries. The entire event streamed on the NPTV YouTube channel. Check it out. We're back with our virtual show favorite, the Club Spotlight. Featured this week is a newer club. Wondering what all the game stock talk is about, the Investment Club could show you what the herb is all about. Take a look at what this club is all about.
years ago, a few students at North Penn had the vision to start a new club that taught personal finance and investment skills. Today, that club is known as the Investment Club. Every Wednesday after school, the club meets to discuss current business news. Large events of the club include running your own portfolio as well as partaking in the statewide stock market competition, practicing how to gain wealth with investments.
In the first half of this year, the club talked about basic investing principles such as stocks and mutual funds. Members practiced running a $100,000 portfolio earlier this year, but starting next month, the club will transition to an official state competition against hundreds of schools.
Finally, the club is hosting a statewide investment conference inviting guest speakers to share their business knowledge and experiences. Join our Google Classroom to partake in the competition, the investment conference, and more. The class code is right here. Have a great day, North Penn!
Let's get right into the lowdown. Students looking to get involved in Unified Spring Track, there will be a mandatory interest meeting Thursday, February 4th at 6:30 p.m. via Google Meet. Email Ms. Shoppy or Ms. Burns to access the link. Seniors, don't forget to fill out the form regarding your legal name on your high school diploma. Responses must be submitted by February 1st at 3 p.m. via the form. Another reminder to order your cap and gown by March 1st. Yearbook sales are also available to purchase online through March 1st. If you have any ideas or suggestions for senior events, please complete the form by March 1st at 3 p.m. as well. The link can be found in the senior newsletter from January 27th. The next SAT at North Penn is scheduled for March 13th. Be sure to get in some study time and prepare yourself for the exam. That's all we have for this week's lowdown. A lot has happened this week in sports, so let's get into it. Last night, the boys' ice hockey team took it on the chin with a 9-2 loss to Pennsbury. They'll be back in action next Wednesday night. Earlier this week, the Knights wrestling team remained undefeated in the conference with a 38-28 win over CB South. They'll host Pennsbury tomorrow morning. Tuesday night, Josh Jones led the boys basketball team to a come-from-behind overtime win against CB East. They take on CB West in Doylestown tonight. The girls basketball team dropped a tough one to CB East the same night, but look to get in the win column at home tonight against CB West. Don't forget that sports are streamed live on NPTV if you ever want to show your support virtually. If all of your English teachers haven't reminded you already, the Haiku U Poetry Writing Contest is just getting started. The 3-line, 5-7-5-syllable pattern poem traditionally focuses on nature, but feel free to write about whatever school-appropriate subject you like. You also have the option for your haiku to stay anonymous. Students and any staff that wish to participate have until February 11th to submit any amazing masterpieces through a Google form. The form can be found in the daily bulletin on the high school's website. Remember, the winning entries receive a Chick-fil-A gift card, and who doesn't love free Chick-fil-A?
We're going to really roll the new Broomba challenge right now. Tell her. Say it. We're going to roll the Broomba challenge.
We're going to roll the Brumball challenge.
TV! Broomba challenge question, just go ahead.
Hey, welcome to this week's Brumball Challenge. We're going to mix it up this week with a little English question for all you literature and poetry students. Here we go. On this date in 1845, one of America's most iconic writers published his classic poem. What is the title and who is the author? The answer when we get back.
You have to answer the Brumball challenge ASAP. You have 5 seconds. Make sure you tweet your answer at NPTV. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome back. The answer you've all been waiting for. On this date in 1845, Edgar Allan Poe first published The Raven. Bet you didn't know that? Now you do, forevermore. Thanks for playing this week's Brumball Challenge.
All right, well, there was no winner this week, but hey, we're all winners. This week, the North Penn School Nutrition Service Department handed out its 1 millionth school lunch. Thank you all for our staff in the cafeteria. Thank you for keeping us fed and always having a smile for us as we walk in the door every day. That's it for this edition of Mornings. I'm Erin Jesberger. Have a wonderful Friday, everyone.